made with, hey, it's me, Dave from cheapwinefinder.com. And we've got another holiday season companion podcast for a post we put on the cheapwinefinder.com website. And today it's bubbly because it's getting to be that time of year. And it's a $9.99 non-vintage Trader Joe's Reserve North Coast Brut. It's a bubbly wine made with Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier, with the three main grapes of Champagne, and it's in this non-vintage Trader Joe's wine. And it's a nice little Chardonnay based. I think it's mostly Chardonnay. I'm not getting Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier are both more towards the red grapes than Chardonnay's white grape, but I'm getting more white grape out of this. But it's a very nice little tasty bubbly. It doesn't have the depth of like the really expensive ones, but then again, it's not a really expensive one, but it kind of has the flavor. I'm going to take a sip because this is bubbly and I'll probably have a sip early and often. So it's made for Trader Joe's by a company called Rack and Riddle. And they're an independent company. They do have their own brand, Rack and Riddle sparkling wines. And I think they also make still wines too. But they are a company people contract with out of Northern California and maybe beyond to make sparkling wine, bubbly. And they've been doing it for years. And if you ever go to their warehouse, you're going to see brands that, that don't say that Rack and Riddle make their wines, but you're going to see a whole slew of different wines out there. A lot of California Bubblies who don't have their own facilities are going to Rack and Riddle. They make a lot of sparkling wine. And that's one thing about bubbly nowadays. Back in the day, Champagne kind of had bubbles to themselves a bit because it was especially the traditional method. Prosecco is made in a tank method. It's a Charmat method. It's a whole different way of making wine. Bubbles still get in there, but it's a different way. But if you're making traditional method sparkling wine, and this is a traditional method sparkling wine, it used to be really hands-on. The company Rack and Riddle who makes this riddling is where after the first fermentation, the second fermentation, they put the yeast and the sugar in the bottle and they put a temporary cork on it and kind of put it nose headed down in a rack, where the rack name comes from. They would have to turn it like every 2 days, like a quarter of a turn, so that when the dead yeast all kind of heads towards the neck of the wine, it wouldn't stick to the neck. And as long as you turn it every 2 days, when it's time to take it out, it comes out. And we're talking in Champagne, the minimum is a year and a half. So every 2 days for a year and a half, someone's turning every single bottle a quarter turn. But not anymore. I mean, nowadays they have machines that do it all. Actually, there's only the most expensive champagnes, excuse me, I said Chardonnays. The most expensive champagnes have anything really handmade about them. Everything else is kind of modern. So that, and Rack and Riddle and, there's other champagne houses or sparkling wine houses in California pretty much have the same equipment as France does. That isn't a difference with champagne style wines, with sparkling wines, with bubbly. I keep on making a mistake of saying champagnes, and they're not champagnes. If it ain't from Champagne, it ain't a champagne, unless it's Andres. Then you can put, that's another story. So the production techniques are easily copied everywhere you go. So that's not really the difference anymore in between Champagne and everybody else. And here we go. This is a $10, $9.99 sparkling wine. Like I said, the difference is in France, the second fermentation has to be for at least 18 months. And with this $9.99 Trader Joe's Reserve Brut, it's 12 months. And that's extra 6 months makes a difference. And I'm going to take a sip because I like taking a sip. Yeah, this one's got really nice acidity. Occasionally, with inexpensive sparkling wines, the acid could bite a bit, but this one's really nicely balanced. It does, it kind of makes you want to take another sip. It's got that kind of acidity, but doesn't get in the way. It doesn't bite your tongue. It doesn't do those things. I've had Cavas where I thought, oh no, I'm going to have heartburn tonight, after it's so acidic. But no, this is kind of for $10 wine. It's really controlled. And like I said, it's not in the bottle as long, and so it doesn't have the depth of a champagne wine, but it's kind of tasty. It really does taste good. And Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier from the North Coast are very, very good grapes. Here is a very short, very incomplete history of Champagne region for you that kind of tells you a little bit about at least the entry-level champagnes. The Burgundy region is kind of inland. The bottom section, the southern section, is Beaujolais, and they do the Gamay grapes there. And then in the middle, there is where they grow all the wonderful Chardonnay and Pinot Noir grapes. You can get $2,000 bottles of anything there. It's a wonderful place. Then when you go to the farthest north region of Burgundy, that's Champagne. And for the longest time, and they've had a hard time because they are so far north, it's possible that it gets cold before the grapes ripen. So they've always had that problem where they could just never get their grapes ripened. So the one thing good about sparkling wine is that you pick the grapes before they ripen, because you can make a sparkling wine because you're doing so much to it, since you're actually doing 2 fermentations to it. You're manipulating the wine so much, you want it to be under the sweetness level. So when it's done, you can actually add the sweetness to it to get exactly what you want. Because once it gets sweet, you can't take that back, but you can always add to that. So there you go. Champagne's known for crazy good bubbly, but it's kind of one of the greatest examples of life giving you lemons and making lemonade out of it, because they went all the way to the point where, rather than being the weak link of Burgundy, this holiday season, you were either going to buy a champagne or drink a champagne, odds are. And the odds are not good that you're going to drink a Burgundy. You might have a Pinot Noir or Chardonnay from Burgundy, but you're going to have the champagne most likely. I mean, most people do at some point. They're getting a glass of champagne at a tasting at a friend's house somewhere. So that's that. But it wasn't always because it was so fantastic. It was because they had problems and they solved their problems. So, which brings us to California. The grapes in California are very, very good too. Champagne's known for their grapes and everything else too, but are the California ones all that much worse or anything? I don't think so. Is the equipment all that much worse? No, I don't think so. What France has is, decades and sometimes centuries of experience. And there's like 300 different champagne houses in Champagne, and you might know 10 of them. There's a ton of them. And the ones because they've developed their own style in such a unique and memorable way that they're famous. And that's it's hard to do everywhere else. Everybody else is just starting out. There's Schramsberg and Gloria Ferrar, and there's some really good sparkling houses in California, but they're playing catch up. And so here we go. So this is a $9.99 bubbly made in the champagne style. But my favorite bubblies are the ones that have extended second fermentation, maybe 3 years in the bottle. I've had some that had 10 years in the bottle. That extra time the bottles give the bubbly texture and depth and flavors that are just out of this world. I mean, the difference as soon as you drink one. Sure, like the entry level Moet and, whatever other one, Moet Chandon or a Dom or whatever. They're wonderful wines. I've never turned one down in my life. But when I really want to get into that, and they know they cost a fortune, are these ones with more with more aging. The other ones are nice, but the California ones aren't that much far off from them. It's to get something with 3 or 4 years of vintage dated wine with 4 or 5 years of aging to it. Oh man, that's hard to beat that. And it's hard to duplicate that, but you can kind of sort of duplicate it with a North Coast Reserve Brut from Trader Joe's. Like I said, it's not the same thing, but it's not that bad. It tastes great. It's got tons of flavor. I just took another sip. Is it the same thing? No. But to my mind, I'm getting kind of jaded. If I want a champagne, I'm going to spend, what's the entry level? $40, $35? I think I just assume go up a little bit and get something that's a little more special, I guess the word is. And when I just want bubbly, these $10 ones kind of hit the spot. That's just me. But, at some point, I think, sometimes you're just buying into the PR. You're not really drinking the wines and finding out what exactly you like. So the inexpensive ones, these inexpensive bubbles, it's not as good. I wouldn't say it's as good as champagne. It's not, but it's pretty damn good. And it's $9.99. I think I like it better than a bunch of Cavas I've had lately, though I do like Cavas too. So you don't have to spend a lot for these entry-level ones. You're still getting quality. You're getting more quality than you ever got before. And that's a good thing. And that's for the party wine. Give it a try. You can buy 4 of these bottles for some of these, if you're having a party for some of these champagnes out there. And, sometimes a party might be a better party with 4 bottles of this than 1 bottle of the other. And that's that for me. Until next time, we'll come up with something because we're doing party wines, and keep it cheap and over and out. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.